Hi everyone, this is Johnnyonoes, and I'm playing Mountain Blade Warband version 1.168, and in this Let's Learn episode, I'm going to give you a beginner's primer of the game. Now, Mountain Blade is an extremely daunting game when you first jump in. You get a little scenario with a merchant that gives you a quest, and once you're done with the quest, you're kind of left with the question of, okay, what do I do now? Now, this game is very simple in the sense that it kind of gravitates towards two important variables or factors within the game. The first factor is your renown, and the way I got to that was just clicking on the reports button down here. Click on reports, and at the top you're going to see your character renown. This is basically a value of how well you're doing in the game, like how many fights have you won, how many castles have you taken over, you know. Basically, everything you do kind of feeds into this character renown value, which then benefits you by allowing you to take bigger and better quests, by getting invited to kingdoms, to be given holdings. This value is extremely important, and if you've watched my character creation video, you'll know that if you're a commoner or a female, you need this renown to be quite high to be able to acquire some of the cool things that you get as a noble. So the renown is extremely important. The second thing that's important, I'll show you how to get to this report. You click on reports, and then you click on weekly budget report. The second huge factor in this game is your wealth. If you don't have enough money, if you're not making enough money per week, you're not going to be able to maintain a sizable enough warband to fight the guys that you want to fight. Like right now, we're at a state that I can really only afford maybe 10 to 15 recruits. If I upgrade them or if I get more recruits than I can really handle, I'm going to eventually run out of money. Now, a word of warning, if you look at your party size report, you're going to see how many troops you can get based off your base size. You always start with plus 30. Then it adds your leadership, your charisma, and then your renown on top of that to determine how many troops you can have at a time. Do not take this number as the number of troops that you should be having in your warband. All of that is determined by your weekly budget report that says that you can afford these guys. So if all of a sudden I had, 100 Huskarls, which is like the highest level Nord unit, this cost would probably be astronomical. It'd be probably like minus 3,000, which obviously at the wealth that I'm at is just not going to happen. So you need to balance your game out between, getting holdings, getting enterprises with the type of troops that you have currently in your warband. So those are the two most important factors of the game, your renown as well as your current wealth. The first tip that I like to give is to kind of maintain a methodology of going as slow as you can throughout the game. It is very easy to get ahead of yourself in this game where if you acquire too high level troops, you won't be able to afford it, or if you acquire a city and you can't defend it, you need to understand what your limits are in the game as you progress. So like in the early game, like really, I've got myself and a bunch of Nord recruits. If I were to rate what I can do right now, and really the limit of what I can do is to fight looter bandits. That's it. So I'm going to fight looter bandits until I have enough money and maybe enough equipment that I can then proceed to the next level of bandit. But you got to maintain that level for as long as you can until it's like way too easy. Or you're going to run into a situation where you're either not going to have enough money, or you're not going to have the right equipment, you're not going to have the right guys, and you're going to find yourself overwhelmed extremely quickly. So really the first tip that I have to give is take things as slow as you can and enjoy the ride, because there is a lot of grind in this game. But if you're going too quickly, you're going to run into a situation where you're just going to be like, this game is impossible, I can't do it. And yeah, definitely go as slow as you can and take things one step at a time. The next tip I like to give is the balance between the number of troops you have and your speed. Now, if in the early game you're going to be picking up a lot of recruits, they're not good. They've got pitchforks, they've got leather tunics on. They are not going to be able to fight anything better than, say, a group of looters. It's very easy to pick up too many recruits and it will slow you down. So right now we're at a speed at 5.9. You can see your speed by mousing over your character as he moves about the map. If you run into a hostile, let's say we had a Sea Raider over here, If you mouse over them, you'll be able to see their speed. We know our speed is 5.9, their speed is 5.8. That means that they don't have a chance to catch us unless we screw it up. So really keep a nice careful balance of your troops as well as your speed. Now, this also occurs the other way around too. Let's just say you have a group of 50 Nord warriors. They're infantry units, which means they're slower, and that also means that if you have a lot of cavalry units, they're faster. But let's just say we had 50 Nord warriors. If we wanted to go after this troop of, 10 to 15 Sea Raiders, we wouldn't be able to catch them. So if your current level is, killing off Sea Raiders left and right and getting that mad money from the Sea Raiders, you don't want to go too high in unit count because you'll never be able to catch them. So you want to keep yourself nice and lean so that you can catch these guys, and mean enough so that you can defeat them. So keep that in mind while moving about the map. As you level up in the early game, one of the more useful skills to pick up is prisoner management as well as inventory management. Both of these skills allow you to acquire things that are going to make you more money. Now, prisoner management, every point of prisoner management is going to allow you to pick up 5 prisoners. You couple that with a blunt weapon, whether it be a mace or a club. It doesn't tell you whether or not it's non-lethal or not, but you can kind of eyeball it and give each weapon a try. But if you couple it with a club, you can get yourself a pretty good amount of money by using a club on guys that you're fighting, and instead of killing them right out, you'll knock them out instead and be able to pick them up as prisoners. So I would suggest around 2 to 3 prisoner management for the early game, so you can at least pick up 15, and then put the rest of your early points into inventory management while your attributes get to a point where you can start upgrading your primary skills. All you have to do is once you acquire your prisoners, you want to go to a town and go to the tavern and look for what's called a ransom broker. You'll be able to sell all your prisoners to the ransom broker and make a pretty penny on just people that you've defeated. But keep in mind, like the last tip, the more prisoners you have in your group, the slower you are. So be very careful about maintaining that number of troops, prisoners, and your speed so that you do not get hijacked on the way back to sell to the ransom broker. While you're on the world map, it is possible to hold down Control and Space to speed yourself up. Be very careful with this function because it is very easy to get yourself trapped by a group that you may not be able to win. So use it sparingly or when you feel that you're extremely powerful. I'm going to go ahead and proceed to lose now. On to the next tip. Another great tip is during tournaments, you have the ability of giving commands to the folks that are in the tournament with you. So if you hit F1 and then F2, you have a better chance of winning the large melees by having your group stay together. It's very easy for your troops to get split apart when there are other teams right next to your group. So F1, F2 puts guys on follow so that everyone stays together and you have a much better chance of winning these large melees. If you're having a hard time with the combat system in the game, a really great way to practice fighting is by going to the arena when there's no tournament going on, talk to the tournament master, and then join the melee fights. You'll be given a random weapon. In this case, I have a two-handed sword, which is nice. And then you just practice against these guys. All the damage you take will be healed after the fight. You can acquire a little bit of money, but it'll give you a good opportunity to practice combat in a nice, safe environment. Another way is to just join, or to get out of your game and to play the tutorial, where you have a different skill levels of guys that you can fight, and you can do it over and over again, as much as you want. When I got into the Viking Conquest DLC of the game, I must have spent 3 or 4 hours working on my melee skills to be able to accommodate the difficulty of that game. But definitely hit the tournament or hit the tutorial to brush up on your skills. Let's see if I can get this guy. Nope, I lost. All right, on to the next tip. Once you've gotten yourself a decent amount of money, I was able to win that tournament I was in earlier, so I got myself 3,900 dinars. The next thing you want to be able to do is to acquire companions to fill out your party skills in your warband. The most important party skills are, of course, surgery as well as pathfinding. Surgery will make it so that when your guys are defeated in battle, there's a higher chance that they'll become unconscious instead of killed outright. Pathfinding allows you to move about the map a lot faster as well. So the companions that you want to look for are Artemis, Bastur, Borcha, Jeremis, Nizar, and Rolf. Each one of those guys has at least 12 or 13 intelligence. For the doctor skills, Jeremis actually has all of these skills already. He has 2 or 3 in either wound treatment, surgery, and first aid. On the other hand, if you can find Borcha, he already has a good amount of tracking, spotting, as well as pathfinding. So make sure to look for those guys. And where you find them is you just go to the local tavern of a city and you'll be able to interact with these guys and then hire them. Some of them you'll be able to get for free, just like I got Jeremis for. Others you'll have to pay 200 to 500 dinars each. So spend this time now that you're kind of defeating bandits a little bit easier, and be able to go around the map and go to each town and acquire as many companions as you can. Once you have a decent group of companions, it's time to now equip them. So you can equip them by selecting them on your company list, hitting talk, and then say, let me see your equipment. This allows you to give them equipment and that you found off of bandits, or maybe you've purchased, or maybe just hand-me-downs that you don't need anymore. So make sure to equip them so they're actually decent fighters. And that will allow them to get more and more levels in a lot faster amount of time. Now that you have all your companions and your warband is starting to grow in size, it is time to start thinking about your wealth. Now, the best way to acquire money prior to joining a kingdom is to talk to a guildmaster in a town and purchase what's called an enterprise. So all you do is you find the guildmaster in the town, and you scroll down to, I wish to buy land in this town for productive enterprise. Go ahead and peruse through all the different enterprises and make sure to look at the potential profits for that week. So for this particular enterprise, I'd get 174. And then you have 475. So you want to go through each one and just understand that these prices are not fixed. They are based off the economy of that particular town. So if that town is not doing very well, you're not going to find an enterprise that's going to really give you a lot of profit. So you want to take all that money that you're getting from killing bandits, by maybe taking down some lords maybe every so often, and put it to your enterprises. When you build it, you'll spend the money for the initial cost, and then after a week, you'll be able to get profits from it. Once the enterprise is built, you'll be able to see the profits that you receive from it in your weekly budget every time you pay your troops. Once you've purchased enough enterprises and got your troops up to a really solid amount as well as skill, you can do anything. You can go and join a kingdom as a mercenary, go join a kingdom as a vassal, or start your own kingdom. Alright folks, this is Johnnyonoes playing Mount & Blade Warband version 1.168. If you have any questions about the video or any of the other games I support, please go ahead and leave a question in the comments below. Thanks folks!